There were lots of things wrong with my last relationship. Hell, just ask my therapist. But to her credit, my now ex, who shall remain, Carly, was a good sport when it came to my choice of home entertainment. The woman sat through 6 Rocky movies, 2 Rambos, 2 Robocops, and the 4-hour-long ultimate cut of 2009's Watchmen, all on my account and at my behest. After we'd finished watching the special director's cut of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a close candidate for my favorite film of all time, I turned to her and said, "That's about as close as I get to having a religious experience." I meant it then, and it still holds true. Terminator 2 is a miracle of a movie, a sequel that's light years better than its predecessor, a big-budget Hollywood action film like 1988's Die Hard that doesn't pander or patronize, a movie that balances incredible stunts and ingenious special effects without losing sight of its humanity. When I first saw Terminator 2 on a specialty movie channel back when we'd just gotten our very first satellite dish, I was floored. Those are the best movie experiences. Those times when you stumble upon something unsuspecting and it just blows you away. Terminator 2 was propulsive, jarring, exciting, funny, and visually extraordinary. Man, even just the opening credits. Those slow-motion shots of children's playground equipment. Those swing sets floating in a nuclear wind, engulfed in flames, accompanied by that moody, mercurial score. Then, of course, the Terminator appearing from out of the fire, staring straight ahead, straight at you. And then, bam! Classic. Terminator 2 wasn't just a hit at movie theaters. There was a time when you couldn't enter an arcade without hearing that familiar, booming voice. Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, beckoning you towards one of 2 machines, ubiquitous in arcades across the continent. The Terminator 2 arcade game and Terminator 2 pinball. The arcade game, developed and published by Midway using the same photorealistic digitized graphics made famous by Mortal Kombat the following year, was a bona fide smash. Debuting in October of 1991 and dethroning Street Fighter II as the highest earning arcade cabinet, though only for a month.
It's Judgment Day.
The game begins in the year 2029, and as far as I'm concerned, the look and feel of those first few levels, the dark, foreboding sky, the nightmarish red glow on the horizon, the shadows of mangled steel and masonry in the distance, is iconic. Everything about this picture is etched into my brain. The energy meter, the gunpowder meter, the sound of your gun, Arnold Schwarzenegger's disembodied voice croaking things like
Fire at will.
And
Excellent.
Just awesome. The shooting gallery pans across the irradiated wastelands of Los Angeles as an endless wave of Terminators crops up out of the gloom. Airborne HKs hover in the background, pelting you with missiles. Destructible walls crumble in your gun's wake, spraying bricks in the air. Scattered crates reveal power-ups when you shoot them, granting you more secondary ammo, smart bombs, plasma upgrades, advanced warheads, and temporary shields. Eventually, you reach one of the big boys, one of those robot tanks seen on screen in both Terminator 1 and 2, and it unleashes holy hell in your direction. There's not much strategy involved except to shoot it as many times as you can, as fast as you can, and pray it bites the dust before you do.
No problemo.
Stage 2 is a human hideout, and here we get our first look at some Terminators with their clothes on. Schwarzenegger clones. Mini Schwartzes. They have a habit of popping up in front of you directly in your line of fire and then getting shot to pieces. Literal pieces. Hunks of steel and chunks of charred cyborg flesh fly through the air as you unload, prompting excited cries and high fives from your friends, and disapproving looks from any wayward moms that happen to be in the vicinity. In Stage 3, you've got to keep John Connor alive. The future John Connor with a receding hairline and sciatic nerve pain, while he hightails it to the main Skynet facility in a battered old pickup truck. John dies, you die. Instant death. Naturally. In Stage 4, we participate in the scenario only hinted at in the movie. We're now in Skynet headquarters, where the Resistance hopes to send a lone warrior, a protector for John Connor. Young John Connor with facial acne and awkward daytime boners. More Terminators, more flying drones, more projectiles, and finally, the Skynet computer itself. After you've pumped the PC full of lead, you enter the time field generator and come out the other end in present-day Los Angeles at Cyberdyne Systems, where the malicious artificial intelligence system called Skynet is being designed. No longer fighting hordes of killer machines on the battlefields of the future, you're now shooting up an office building and fighting off cops in the process. I have to admit, there's something strange about this level. Now that we're not in the future anymore, the game looks and feels quite a bit more quaint, more limited. Up close, some of the graphics haven't aged well at all. John and Sarah run around, but they look more like clumsy marionettes than actual people. They also, annoyingly enough, keep jittering right into your line of fire. All this sure doesn't evoke the same feeling of that opening salvo. The legions of mechanical bad guys, the dark, rubble-strewn cityscape. Now you're shooting at computers, mostly. The logic being that the more shit you destroy, the harder it'll be for Cyberdyne to finish its research and actually build Skynet. Okay? I guess? The T-1000 finally makes its appearance at the end of the level.
Are you John Connor?
Now, Stage 6, and it's another case of protecting the leads or dying in the process. John and Sarah are in the SWAT van and the T-1000 is hovering above them in a police chopper. More or less exactly like in the movie. A nice enough sight. Video game adaptations of popular movies have never exactly been known for their fidelity to the source material. The chopper explodes, and now it's the familiar tanker truck full of liquid nitrogen. Inside the steel mill, it's you against the T-1000, and it's a matter of shooting the tanker truck in the right place at the right time to get it to spill its contents on your enemy. Freeze him in his tracks, like in the movie, and he explodes in a lovely shower of mimetic polyalloy. On to the final screen, and this time, it's up close and personal. The trick is to pelt the T-1000 with bullets until he stumbles close to the ledge. And then, well, you know the rest.
Excellent.
Terminated.
The Terminator 2 arcade game is emblematic of arcade games as a whole in the early 90s, for better and worse. On the plus side, technology was rapidly advancing, and more sophisticated games with flashier graphics and better sound were gaining ground daily. On the negative side, gone were the days of Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Centipede, where one quarter could net you an entire afternoon's worth of play, if you were skilled enough. Early arcade games, by and large, were exceedingly difficult but fundamentally fair. They were hard to master, but they rewarded you for doing so. It was sort of an unwritten rule, like the samurai code: honor over profits. By the early 90s, the prevailing design philosophy had changed. A lot. While Terminator 2 wasn't alone, its manufacturer, Midway, was one of the main driving forces behind the transformation. More and more, games weren't just difficult to master. They were programmed to be impossible to master, forcing even the most skilled gamers to pump more and more quarters into the machines and thereby enhancing profitability, at least in the short term. In Mortal Kombat, for instance, that meant enemy AI that actively cheated against you. And in NBA Jam, well, same deal. There's no mastering Terminator 2. It won't allow it. Yes, you can get a bit better, a bit faster, a bit more skilled at picking up those power-ups. But the game is designed to hit you with everything it's got, over and over again. It wants your quarters, and it means to take them, by hook or by crook. That means a ton of instances where there are simply too many targets on screen, too many enemies, too many projectiles, too many bullets flying for you to make any headway before your health meter is drained, sometimes alarmingly fast. At that point, there's nothing to do but give up or insert another quarter. Whether or not you're okay with that is likely to determine how much fun you have with Terminator 2, the arcade game. If you can get past its occasional mean-spiritedness, the way it devours quarters and will happily kill you for them, then Terminator 2 is a nice, nostalgic trip. It loses something when it transports you out of the future. It somehow just doesn't feel totally right. But, to be fair, I'd reckon 80% of the people who played this never got past the pickup truck stage. Doing so would have taken a lot of determination. And about $10 worth of quarters.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Meanwhile, Terminator 2, the pinball table, made its debut in the midst of what might be called the mini renaissance in pinball. Imagine seeing this for the first time. You first marvel at its size. Big, surprisingly big, like all pinball tables. And then the riot of color, those lights, that dot matrix display, the first dot matrix display in the history of pinball. Terminator 2 is a masterclass in design, a piece of mechanized memorabilia, a fusion of old-school pinball principles and modern-day tech, a living, breathing, shaking, quaking monument, a work of art, a thing of beauty. Rather than have me explain the finer details of how Terminator 2 is played, how about Steve Ritchie, the game's designer, circa 1991, all decked out in his Sunday best and sporting the best mullet you'll see outside of an achy breaky heart music video.
The game begins when a player shoots these targets. He wants to try and hit the lit target with the ball. For every shot that he makes on the target, he receives 1 million points. On the second ball, 2 million. On the third ball, 3 million, etc. Another feature actuated by the gun grip is a feature located underneath this Terminator head here. You knock down a drop target, throw the ball in the ball popper behind it, and it loads the cannon. The cannon then swings out, and the player fires the cannon at the lit ball. If he hits the lit ball, multi-ball begins.
Can I just add, I live for this kind of shit. This Terminator 2 pinball promotional video from 1991. It's basically pinball porn, complete with money shots of the game's backglass, side art, and playfield. Hardcore stuff. But still, dignified. Beautiful, really.
Once the player is in multi-ball, the object of the game is to lock balls in this hole, one way back here in the back of the game, and one in the ball popper. Now the player has the opportunity to take a shot with the cannon for a triple X jackpot. This game has a very special feature called video mode. Video mode is a feature that allows me to play a video game within this pinball machine played on the dot matrix display. What I'll do is I'll use my flipper buttons, left and right, to control a crosshair on the dot matrix display. The object is to shoot Terminators and other characters that move back and forth on the screen. Here, I'll demonstrate it. I'm now in video mode. I want to cast this crosshair across the Terminators that are coming out on the screen. That big ship and this big head over here are worth $1 million. If I don't complete the entire screen, the video mode is over and I resume normal pinball play. Another feature on the game, it's pretty innovative, is a feature called payback time. What you do is you take right flipper shots up the left ramp and left flipper shots up the right ramp, back and forth. When he says get the CPU, that means your final shot is ready, and it goes into payback time. Now this shot is worth $5 million. This shot is also worth $5 million, as well as this shot, and this shot. Those shots are worth $5 million for 15 to 20 seconds after payback time begins. T2 is probably the best license ever obtained for a coin-operated machine. We feature the voice and likeness of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Reliability and serviceability have been designed in. Best of all, Terminator 2 is collecting with the top videos and out-earning all pinballs on location. This machine will be ready for delivery at the same time the movie is released.
Terminator 2 is collecting with the top videos and out-earning all pinballs on location. Ooh, talk dirty to me, baby. So there you have it. 2 phenomenal machines, 1 unforgettable movie. There isn't much else to say, dudes and dudettes, but I'll let Arnold say it himself.
I'll be back.